Hardhat's all about showing up to play hard, doing what it takes to win.
If you want to cement legacy, win another.
He's your third center.
You don't want to puff him up too much, but it's hard not to.
This is maybe the most I've ever agreed with you.
What's up, everyone? This is Noah Dalzell, and I'm here with Bobby Manning, and we just wrapped up day 2 of Celtics training camp, so here with a quick practice report. We heard from 2 players today, Anfernee Simons and Baylor Shireman, and the big theme of the day is defense, and I think the way that Anfernee Simons is being pushed by Joe Mazzulla, here's what he had to say about that.
You told that story the other day about the conversation you had with him about your defense. How did that come about? Like, did you bring it up? Did he come to you about it? Like, how did those conversations
Yeah, he brought it up. You know, obviously in his Joe way, you know, he gonna, you know, throw jabs at you. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Just talking smack to you. But you know, I enjoy it. You know what I mean? That's what he's challenging me with. So I'm taking on a challenge, and no matter if he talks smack to me all day about it, I'm gonna take it in and, you know, just try to be better the next day. So that's all we've been doing, just a simple conversation like that.
So at this point, I think we know that Anfernee Simons is a really good scorer. He's been the primary scoring option for the Blazers the last few years, but how much confidence do you have that he's going to be able to step up on the defensive end, and what are we kind of picking up here from the first few days?
I don't know how to feel about it yet. I feel like I need to see him in a game, how they're going to play defense as a team. And it's not just him. There's questions everywhere on the defensive side, and he's probably the biggest one. I keep pointing back to the fact that the Blazers were one of the best defensive teams down the stretch last year, and when he was on the court, they were still pretty rough on that end. So he's got some good defenders around him now. He's got a good defensive coach, but he already had that in Portland, and it didn't go great. Now, he's described it as just needing to try on that end. I know you asked about that today. Is it just trying, or are there technical things you need to work on here? I don't have a great sense for it. I probably would lean that it's going to be a struggle to some degree because that's what it's been in his career so far. But if they're going to play a different style where they're taking more risks and they're trying to force more turnovers and they're using their speed and length and athleticism, maybe they'll suit him well.
Yeah, and I think sometimes defense gets boiled down to just effort, and obviously that's probably like 75% of what it is at this level, but there are a lot of technical things, and that's what I asked Anfernee about like the kinds of drills that they've been running, and he said that they're doing defensive playmaking drills that he hasn't never done before in his career. So the fact of the matter is that I think he knows at this point that him not being a good defender has become a national talking point, right? Obviously his trade, that was the big discussion around it.
National?
So, I would say so. I don't think it's a secret. I mean, to be honest with you, before he was traded to Boston, I never really thought much about Anfernee Simons' defense. I don't think the average person had. And then he gets traded, and then there's a question around, like, wait a second, why didn't teams want him? Why are the Celtics not able to get, to
It's
pass
got to
him
be the
along?
biggest reason no one wanted him, because led the team in scoring,
right.
Very talented, still relatively young. It's the only thing you can point to. I don't think there's any attitude issues.
Right, and so the question is, like, is it true, or is it just that he's never really been in the environment where he's had the coaching, the motivation, all of the things that he needs. And so this year is kind of an opportunity for him to dispel that narrative. And if I were him, and he seems to be a good athlete that doesn't have anything that's like overtly wrong with his abilities to defend, I think he's going to go out and surprise some people. And that's my sense, is that he feels pretty motivated by all the discussion, all the discourse, and that this coaching staff is really, really on him about being as good as possible on that end.
Yeah, and Mazzulla is taking the tough approach with him. We asked how that conversation came up, and he brought it up as a way to jab at him. He's done that with Keita. He's done that with a handful of other players that he knows can take it. So I think that's a good sign, and you can see him reacting positively to that. They're going to push him. I think he's going to start off the bench for that reason and have to earn his way into greater opportunities. I do think, as we discussed on the show, that if he makes mistakes or isn't giving it his full effort on that end, that they will reduce his minutes, because I think they believe he can handle it, and he's on the one-year prove-it deal, so it's not like there's a long-term commitment to him here necessarily. So I think they're going to really push him, and I'll be super curious to see how he reacts to that. The reaction so far has been pretty positive from him, it feels like.
Yeah, and, I think Joe's biggest gift is his ability to read individual people and treat them differently and connect with them differently. And we know it's well chronicled that he's really hard on Emias Keita, but we also know that that hasn't severed their relationship. Like they have a close relationship. So if he's gotten the sense from the 5 weeks, 6 weeks that he spent with Anfernee Simons that this is the way to do it, then I think he will. I don't think he's like that with every single person on the roster. So it's definitely something I'll be curious to watch. We're about a week from preseason now, and I'm sure we'll get a sense of, like, is there an increased level of commitment on that end? And then also just like how they're all going going to be together because, yes, like you said, it's not just Anfernee. It's a bunch of guys that have question marks on that end.
Do you have a feeling right now? I think we've talked about it a little bit, whether it's going to be Pritchard or Simons next week when the preseason starts.
I think Pritchard's going to start, but not to just like echo Joe's comments here. I just don't think it matters that much. Like I think it's going to change. I think different
You think
guys
Pritchard
will
and
close.
Simons could go back and forth a little bit?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's going to be a lot of things to change. Like I don't see a world where it's like this is the preferred 5, and all year if those guys are healthy, those are the 5 that start. Like we might get to that at some point, but I don't think it's going to start that way because right now the guys that are returners have such an advantage, and they have so much more chemistry together. And I think those other guys are eventually going to maybe prove to be more impactful than they are right now as they're kind of getting their bearings and figuring everything out.
The only other thing I'll throw out there is I do like the fact that it feels like they're taking a more aggressive stance on the defensive end. When you look at the turnover numbers, they've committed the fewest in the league by far over the last couple of years. If they're going to speed it up and be running in transition and all that, they're going to be committing more. And I think the gap between the amount they were forcing and the amount they were giving up was like less than 1. So they're going to have to force more this year. They've been talking about it forever. I like the fact that they're working on ball swiping drills and different ways to take calculated risk, as Minot said. Joe talked about that a little bit today as well. So that, if anything, gives me confidence in Simons improving and some of these other guys having better years on that end than expected. It's taking a more aggressive approach on that end because they don't have a natural rim protector. They don't have the ability to play someone off and do the help defense thing that they've been doing. They're gonna have to swarm around a little bit and just be aggressive, and it's gonna lead to some mistakes. The defense is probably going to drop a little bit from where it's been. I mean, they've been in the top 6 in all but one season since Brad took over, I believe. So this has been a great defensive team. Where they're going to be at this year is going to decide a lot about how good they are as a team.
Yeah, for sure. And I think you're going to see, like you said, energy and effort as the primary things. Like when you don't have the sheer size and talent, like you have to make up for it in other ways. And most teams aren't able to, and that's why they end up pivoting to a tank in the spring, so it'll be a tall task, I think, for this team to be the hardest playing team. Everybody wants to be the hardest playing team on the floor. I saw that this morning on 98.5, Sam Cassell said, we want to be the hardest playing team on the floor. I think that's every team's goal, but can you get there, know? And honestly, I think they can because they do have a coaching staff that led this team to a championship. They do have, I think, a couple of guys that are really unique leaders, that are uniquely hard workers. So we'll see, though. That's the open question, and I'm sure that if I was at other teams' training camp, I would be convinced by kind of what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing there, too.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
They were 13th in defense that last Isaiah year. That's how far you have to go back to this not being an elite defense here. But they're great at stopping the 3. They have different unique methods of closing out and taking those risks as we talk about here. So it's a smart staff too. They're going to utilize guys' strengths, find ways to hide guys. We talked to Shireman today too. I think that's someone that they're going to have to find a way to hide and just put in different positions where he's not exposed. It's going to look completely different. So that's why I'm most excited to see the preseason start about a week from now, is just how does it look on that end? Because the offense will be similar. The defense is going to be much different, I feel like.
And I think Shireman's somebody else a little bit underrated defensively. I have a feeling he's going to surprise
He's a
people.
guy in Summer League who taking those risks, trying to rack up steals. He had so many steals in those games.
And
in the
he
Summer
plays
League.
hard. I mean, if their thing is we want to go out there and play hard, I mean, I remember last year you guys made fun of me, but like I said that I haven't seen anybody, I think, what did I say, that he was one of the top 5 hardest playing players I've ever seen on the court. And
Is
I
he
stand
still
by
up there?
it. I still think so. It just, I've never
W
seen
and
him,
NBA or just NBA?
I've never seen, maybe just NBA.
Okay.
The WNBA players, they don't take as many possessions off, I gotta say. But yeah, I think that he's gonna subscribe to that culture, absolutely. I think Ugo is gonna subscribe to that culture if he gets the opportunity. That's gonna be the thing that gets guys on the floor, is playing 100% of the time. So I think that's it for me today. Anything else? Any other takeaways from practice?
None. We saw Tatum out there, so he's going to be present.
He's extremely around.
Yep.
I honestly thought that when he went down, he might go and retreat and do his own thing, but he is extremely around.
And he was joking with Anfernee, welcoming him into his little circle with Derek. So is he going to be a Jason friend? We've seen Jason's friend group over the years evolve and change. It looks like Anfernee could be in there. So
because he saw them talk once.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Tatum welcomed in and he waved them over.
New best friend. That's it for us. We'll have coverage the rest of the week. Celtics practice again Friday and Saturday, so we'll have more coming then.